All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Highruler, and today's video is going to be a quick one talking about Helldivers 2 because it seems like in the midst of all the news about exclusivity, Phil Spencer has been talking about Helldivers 2 when he's been asked about it. And it's really interesting because Helldivers 2 is only on PC and PlayStation, and it's one of the only games PlayStation has gone day and date with PC with, which means that this game didn't have any sort of staggered release. It launched alongside PS5 at the same time. And there has been a lot of great success with this game. This game has broken records. It's had server issues because of how many people are playing it. This game is the second biggest news story of the AA market this year, right behind Palworld and its success. And it's been really interesting because both Xbox and PlayStation have had great success this year. Obviously, Xbox with Palworld and the numbers that did, and now PlayStation with Helldivers 2. And Phil has talked about this, as I said, and his quote's really interesting. So his quote was, "I will say, when I look at a game like Helldivers 2, and it's a great game, kudos to the team shipping on PC and PlayStation, I'm not exactly sure who it helps in the industry by not being on Xbox. If you try to twist yourself to say like somehow that benefited somebody somewhere, Phil acknowledged that Xbox is still doing the same thing though, but I get it. There's a legacy in console gaming that we're going to benefit by shipping games and not putting them on other places. We do the same thing." So obviously, with Xbox just having Palworld, Xbox had great success with that game. Everybody was playing Palworld at the time, and many people will still use their Xboxes to play Palworld into the future, even though it's on PC. Similarly, people will play Helldivers 2 on their PS5, even though it's on PC. And I think there's a question of exclusivity, and we've seen recently that both Xbox and PlayStation have talked about exclusivity, with Xbox just announcing that 4 of their games will be on other platforms. And I think the broader conversation here is that we are moving away very slowly from the days of exclusivity and having games across many different platforms. And it does seem like over the next 5 to 10 years, I would imagine that a lot of different games are going to be on many different platforms. And I think, yeah, that benefits everybody in the long run, especially for multiplayer games where you need an active population. And that's good for both the players as well as the developers. And I think that just works all around. But once again, it really does seem like the broader conversation here is who does these games benefit for being exclusive at this time? And I think one of the things we have to talk about when it comes to that is that certain platforms have games that will move consoles off of the shelves, right? PlayStation has Spider-Man, Horizon, Last of Us. Xbox has Halo, Fable, Gears of War, and Nintendo has Mario, Zelda, and Donkey Kong, for example, right? Each platform has their own heavy hitters that will move consoles off the shelves, but you can't always have just these games coming out rapid fire. These games take time. So you need a catalog of other games in order to kind of supplement your heavy hitters. And things like Palworld and Helldivers will do a great job of that. So it does benefit some people, though I would probably argue that having these games on many different platforms benefits many other people, but it does benefit these platforms to have these games going on their own platforms for the sake of just having other games there. It's very easy to buy a PlayStation 5 knowing you have a Spider-Man and a Last of Us and a Ghost of Tsushima, and then knowing that you're also going to have access to other games like a Helldivers 2, which is seemingly doing numbers. I've recently talked about that players and gamers want to make sure when they invest into a game that it's active, that it's ongoing, that there's something to do, that people want to play it, right? And Helldivers 2 and Palworld have both shown that the AA market is ripe for that right now. It's not just about the AAA market and these huge multi-million-dollar games. It's the smaller games, the indie games that people are really latching onto this year, and I think that shows great growth. So while you could make the argument in the case that obviously Phil may be a little upset that Helldivers 2 isn't on his platform and giving his company a lot of gross revenue, I think at the end of the day, we're just not there yet. And we will be in the future, and I definitely think Xbox is preparing for that future, and they're trying to get there by putting pressure on themselves internally, and I think there's a big conversation to be had about Xbox and Microsoft and all the acquisitions they've done. But I think right now, when we look at the state of the industry it's in, we just aren't there yet to have a Helldivers 2, which worked in part their developer with PlayStation to get the game out there to be published on Xbox, for example. I think obviously when we look at PlayStation, their moves with Helldivers 2 and their comments recently about moving more games to PC for the launch on day and date, I think we are almost there. but just not right now. So would Phil Spencer obviously want Helldivers 2 on his platform? Of course. Is it going to happen? No, it's not. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a PlayStation published game on Xbox one day in the future. It does seem like these companies are working with smaller developers now in order to kind of boost their catalog of games. Once again, PlayStation with Arrowhead Game Studios for Helldivers 2, as well as Xbox has now teamed up with the developers of Palworld at the start when they were going through so many growing pains, and it looks like Xbox is going to lend their expertise there. And of course, in doing so, they're drawing lines in the sand, but I think Xbox is more willing to kind of wash those lines out, and I think that's just kind of the way things are going right now. Remains to be seen how the rest of the industry goes over the next 5 to 10 years. It does seem like Xbox is making moves to prepare for that, but of course, we just have to wait and see. In regards to all of this, if you want more Helldivers 2 content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a nice little comment, and I'll see you guys next time. As always, enjoy the rest of your day and the night. Take care of yourselves. Later, guys.